Hello and welcome to a video on creating PPM image files programmatically. In other words, writing a program that can generate a PPM image file when it can be any kind of file you want, any kind of image you want to build. All right, I did this in 3 different programming languages, and we're going to start with Python here. I've created a function called createRandomPPM that takes a file name and the width and height of the image. So this will create a PPM file with that name and these dimensions. And I don't know, I mean, there's all kinds of fun things you can do when you create one of these images. In these examples, I'm just going to create an image file that's made up of randomly generated pixels. So the colors of those pixels will be random. So the first thing we have to do is create the output file and write out the header. And so this line creates the output file in Python using the file name. Then we write the version of the PPM, the comment line, and we can put whatever we want there. I just put the pound sign, but you could put text in here too and it'll be ignored. Then we're going to, without the new lines, we're going to write the width, followed by a space, followed by the height, then a new line, followed by the maximum color value, and then one more new line on the end. And that builds our header file, our standard header file for PPMs. Next thing we're going to do is generate the pixels and write them out. So we know the number of pixels are going to be equal to the width times the height of the image. If the image is a 10 by 10 image, there'll be 100 pixels. So we're going to create a for loop here. It goes from 0 up to, but not including the w times h. And then in this loop, we're going to use randRange in Python to generate a random number from 0 to 255. This last number is exclusive, so it's up to but not including 256. And we'll do that for the red, green, and blue components of our pixel. Then we're going to write out the red, followed by a new line, then the green, followed by a new line, and then the blue value, followed by a new line. And we'll do this for all of the pixels. Finally, we'll close the file. That's it. Very simple to do. Now, you could do a lot of complex things in here, building something more than just a random image. You could try and draw a box or, who knows, a house programmatically, but we're just going to do random here. And then the last thing I do here at the bottom of my main.py file is to call the function with a random.ppm file name and a dimension. Let's run the program here, see if it works. All right, seems to be happy. Here's the file. We're going to download it, and we'll open it up. And here is our random image. You can see it's just full of random pixels, which is kind of cool. All right, just to show you, we can tweak this a little bit for fun, and let's make it red heavy. So for the red range, we'll do from 0 to 256, meaning we can get bright reds, anywhere from dark to bright reds. And then in the other 2 colors, we're going to only go up to as bright as 100. So we should see kind of a red flavor here in our image because we're creating more stronger red values than greens and blues. Let's run this again. Okay, it generated it. Let's download the file. Let's open that file, and you can see it did create a random image, but look at the red leaning of this image. It's much more red than anything else. All right, you can do this in other languages as well, quite easily. And let's just go over them. The next one we'll do is Java. If you don't know these languages, it's still fun to take a peek at them. We've created a class with a static method here that we can call from main. It's the same method that we did in Python, file name and dimensions, and the program looks almost identical. We create an output stream and we write out the header. Here I'm using a print writer with an output stream inside of it. Then we have a for loop, looks just like we did in Python, from 0 up to, but not including width times height. We generate the random numbers, but in this case, in Java, we had to use a random object to do that. So I created one here in main that's static. And we use that to generate our random pixels, our random color values. And then we write the pixels out by writing the red, green, and blue using println. Then we close the file. And in Java, you can do some exception handling here so that you can try and then catch any file errors that you might get. Any errors really in general, but the one you'd be expecting here is some kind of file error if you had one. So that's your Java solution. Very nice. And now our C++ one, again, looks very similar. Here's our function that we've declared. Here's the creation of our file writer, which we had to include up here, which is a utility file that we've been using in C++. And we will write out the header line, just like we did in the other two languages. Here's our for loop. Notice the similarity between Java and C++ here. The for loop is almost identical. It is identical. Then we'll generate the random numbers. And in C++, to do that, we had to use the rand function here. And this gives us a number from 0 up to, but not including, 256 for red, green, and blue. Then we'll write those three values out to get our pixel, each on a different line. And then we close the file when we're done. And like in Java, you can do a try-catch blocks here to catch any file errors that might take place. So there you have it, how to create a PPM image file programmatically in 3 different languages.